Yo, how's it going, everybody? And welcome back to Heavy Metal Devils. And I got a fun video for you today. We're going to be looking at 5 potential stars to keep an eye on during the preseason tour. But just before we get into this video, I'm on the way to 500 subscribers, and I'd love to hit that very soon, and I can't do that without your help, and your help means so much to me. The last week has been amazing. But yeah, let's get to 500 subs as soon as we can, because I've got a lot more planned for this channel and a lot more stuff I want to do with all of you. But anyway, let's just get right into it. Top 5 players to keep an eye on during the preseason tour. Let's go. So yeah, number 1 is going to be Ahmad Diallo, and that's probably coming as no surprise. He had an outstanding season last year in the championship playing for Sunderland. He scored 14 goals and 3 assists. Now, the only issue I've had with this is that his assist numbers from the position he has been playing, he's been playing on the right wing and central attacking midfielder throughout this loan spell. 3 assists is kind of on the low side for those positions, but 14 goals is absolutely exceptional. Especially, the championship is a very tough league to play in, and he's not the biggest guy on the field. He's actually a very tiny player. So to be able to handle that league and get that output is actually outstanding. And I think a lot of players, or not a lot of fans, are eager to see what he can do on this preseason tour in a Manchester United shirt. But today, there were reports coming out that they are going to assess Ahmad Diallo over the next month and decide his future. I would love to see him stick around and be in our squad for next season. I'm just unsure about that at the moment. I think it all comes down to what he does on this preseason tour, and if we do decide to sell Jadon Sancho, because we do have at the moment Antony, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and Garnacho. Sorry, speech is terrible today. All taking those roles. And with the inclusion of Mason Mount now joining the squad, he can also fill in on that left or right side or in that central attacking midfield role as well. So Ahmad Diallo is going to have to work very hard to get into this squad, but I do think he can do it. And if not, I've seen a lot of clubs interested in picking him up on loan, such as Burnley. I think Sheffield United are looking at him as well. I'd like to see him on loan. If he goes on loan this season, I'd like to see him on loan in the Premier League and not the championship. I want to see him, how he performs in the Premier League, in a Premier League side, albeit probably a lower end Premier League team, but I think it would work very well. Here's my honest thoughts. I think we're going to try and sell him. I don't know about this season. I think we'll try and maybe loan him out again this season. This is all depending on incoming. So I think if Jadon Sancho goes, he might stay, but we also do have Facundo Pellistri. So I see he's becoming a high value asset for us after the season he had last season. So if he can output something similar this season in the Premier League, I think we could sell him and flip him for a profit, which would be something rare for us to see as a Manchester United fan, because we suck at making profit on players unless their name's like Dan James. But I can honestly see that happening, maybe even selling him this summer after a good preseason to fund some more moves, maybe towards closer to deadline day. But nonetheless, he's going to be an extremely exciting player to watch on this preseason tour. He's got loads of gifts. He's got loads of ability. It's just now to see, can he handle playing in the Premier League with the big boys? So yeah, keep an eye on Ahmad Diallo. He's our number 1, and I think he might actually tear it up this preseason. And number 2. So number 2 is Alvaro Fernandez, and he had a stellar loan at Preston last season. He's become somewhat of a cult hero. He was voted the fans' Young Player of the Year. And actually, I totally forgot to mention this. Ahmad Diallo was also voted Young Player of the Year for Sunderland. My bad. Totally forgot about that. But anyway, another Young Player of the Year, Alvaro Fernandez. He is a left wing back. This guy looks like the future to me. He is a modern day wing back. Very quick, very technical, and can put a cross on a pinpoint for the striker. His crossing ability is actually kind of outrageous. I think he can play with both feet as well, so maybe he can also fill in on the right side, but he does prefer the left. Here's the problem. We've got Luke Shaw and we've got Tyrell Malacia. So it might make it a bit tough. I mean, I can see him sticking around, maybe going on loan. I think there are talks about him going on loan again. But here's what I see. I can see injuries happening in our midfield, in our defensive line, where Luke Shaw will have to go fill. And I think that could happen for a few weeks, like it did last week, a few games, where Luke Shaw had to fill in at that role, and we kind of had no left back coverage. So maybe those are the games where we can get Fernandez in on the bench to play as a backup to Tyrell Malacia. I also think this season is going to be the season to see what Tyrell Malacia is all about. I would say last year he was just kind of betting into the league. He's very young. I mean, he didn't cost much, but he is a player that, even if he doesn't have the best season, we could sell him for a bit of a profit next season and then bring in Alvaro Fernandez to play as Luke Shaw's backup. The only thing is that I don't really think he's as good defensively. He's more of that attacking left back style. He loves to go forward. Might lack a bit of defense, but he does do it there. But I do see him maybe having a spot in this team. Maybe not this season, but maybe next season. But it all depends on how Malacia performs this season. But he is a super exciting player to watch. He's everything you want from a modern day fullback. And I think given the opportunity and given that we have a badass striker up front, I think he can do some damage. So yeah, number 2 is Alvaro Fernandez. Oh man, I'm not talking today. The gym has absolutely wrecked me. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think about him down below. Number 3. We're all worried about strikers at the moment. Who's going to be our main striker? Who's going to be our backup? Here's probably a third string option. Charlie McNeil. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. His stats last year on loan at Newport were kind of terrible. 2 goals, 1 assist. You need to look a bit deeper into those stats. He was only coming on for around 10 minutes at a time in a game. He only got around 1,000 minutes all of last season. So you can see that he did not really play that much. So maybe the goal and assist output isn't that bad. Can you please explain to me what you can really do in a matter of 10 minutes as a striker? It's very, very hard to be an effective player coming on for 10 minutes, especially when you're that age in a league like that. So I think we could see him used as a first or second string option right now on preseason. I know Hoyland is about to come in, so he's probably going to get all the reps, but I think we need to get Charlie McNeil in there, get a feel of playing with, the current first team and the backup players, because I think we will need a third string option. I think second string at the moment is looking like a Marcus Rashford, but we do need someone maybe to come in and just play a part in like those early cup games, dead rubber champion leagues games, stuff like that. And don't forget, man, this dude left Man City to come and play for United. He scored like 600 youth goals for Man City, so he does have an eye for goal, and I think we could definitely develop him and utilize him in the proper way. If not, develop him some more, send him out on loan, and maybe a year later, sell him for a decent profit to maybe a championship side or a lower Premier League side. So yeah, all eyes on Charlie McNeil and the just the striking position this summer. Yeah, keep an eye on him. I'm hoping he gets his chance in the preseason, but we all know how ruthless Ten Hag has been. Now, number 4. This guy, I think, could be exciting. It's a name we have seen before, and given that we are a bit scarce in defenders, I think we could utilize this guy to his proper potential, and that's Will Fish. He went on loan last year to Hibernian in the Scottish Premiership, and he actually scored 3 goals as a defender, better than Maguire. So at least he can actually get his head on stuff, and he even has a decent shot. So 3 goals as a defender throughout the season is actually very good. But that's not what we're looking at here. His defensive stats last year actually were very, very good. Here we go. The 99th percentile in both clearances and shots blocked. That's quite big, especially on the clearances side. Then he's in the 92nd percentile for aerial duels won and the 80th percentile for interceptions. That is not bad at all. I know the Scottish Premiership isn't the best league in the world. It's a tough league. It will get you down, but you have to appreciate these stats as a young player. And not to mention his defensive, not to mention that he has great defensive stats, but some of his offensive stats are pretty good as well. He's in the 97th percentile for completed crosses as a center back. And while on top of that, had a 100% dribble completion rate last season. That I don't know what that really says. Maybe he wasn't really... I don't think he was dribbling the ball past the halfway line. He probably took a few touches and passed it. But nonetheless, he never got dispossessed while he had the ball and always completed his dribbles. So that kind of tells me he is good with the ball. I think he can serve as a possible backup if we do sell Maguire and we want to rest our starters, especially if we don't bring another center back in. I mean, even if we do bring a center back in, why not do games where we rest our entire back line? Well, we have Malacia, we can have Will Fish, Lindelof, and Wan-Bissaka or Diallo on the right side, whoever the manager prefers at the time. I think that would be a good idea. You can never really have enough defenders, can you? Well, you can if they make 200k a week, so that's why we got to bin those ones. So I think Will Fish could be one of the most exciting players on this preseason tour, just judging by his stats last season. Very good defensively. I know he's had a few, I think he had a hiccup last year where he got like an instant red card, and that kind of just ruined his momentum there. But we all come back from things like that, and I think he will, and tear it up this preseason. Now, number 5. This, I was debating to put this on. So this will be the only non-youth player. This is a first team player I really want to keep an eye on this preseason, and that's Antony. I'm not sure what's going on with his personal stuff, so there's a chance maybe he won't really feature much on the preseason tour, but let's say he is. Look, he had a decent season last year. I'm not hating on him like a lot of other pundits are. I think he had a great season, not a great season, but a decent one. Scored some very important goals, Barcelona, Arsenal, etc. I just want to see what he's worked on this offseason. He's very one-footed. I want to see if he's worked on utilizing his other foot. We need a player that can use both feet, one that can whip in crosses with his right foot, not just stop and whip it in with his left, or doing a left curler into the top bins. I mean, as beautiful as those shots are, they just get predictable. He's had trouble going past players. So I just want to see if he's worked on these little things either with Ten Hag or on his own personal time, and just to see if he's made any improvement off that kind of stuff since last year. I do believe he will be better this year. I see a lot of people hating on him, but not really hating on other players that had worse seasons than him last season. Just remember, it was his first season. He is still quite young. Um, the Premier League is just really, really different than the Eredivisie. So I'm holding hope. I think he will come good this season, and if we get a proper striker, I think you'll see our wingers come alive even more. So yeah, Antony is on this list. I just want to see how he's improved and what he's worked on over the preseason while we've all been on holiday. I know I'm sure he's gone on holiday, but I'm just hoping he spent a few weeks working on that right foot a bit and just being able to get past players a bit more. So yeah, that's my top 5. Let me know what you think down below. What players are you looking out for this preseason? Any that I did not mention? I'm sure there are. I know there's a few others that I wanted to put on this list, but look like they might be heading out on loan before they even get a chance to go out on this tour, like Mateo Kovar. I think he is going to be a killer keeper in the next few years. But I refrained from putting on this list because it does look like he is going back out on loan as soon as he can. So anyway, let me know what you think. Do not forget to subscribe. Let's get to 500 as soon as we can because I've got some cool stuff planned for once we do. And yeah, anyway, I guess I'll see you all on the next one.